everyone, and welcome back to Rules as Written Character Builds. My name is Zach, and on this channel I make character builds for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, trying to strike a balance between theme and combat capability. With these videos, I focus only on the features that either play into the character fantasy or are necessary for the mechanics of the build. So for this reason, you'll often see me skip over class features. That's just me trying to stay on course and keep the videos to a reasonable length. So for this week, we're going to be combining the Path of the Beast Barbarian with the Shifter race to create the ultimate werewolf player character. I was inspired to make this character after my last Skyrim playthrough. I hadn't played in a few years, and it made me remember my first ever playthrough back when I was 15. At that time, I went with the companions and became a werewolf. And now that I'm so into Dungeons & Dragons, it really made me want to make a werewolf player character. This build is going to be all about the transformation, that primal fury of lycanthropy, and the beastly edge it gives you, including heightened senses and superhuman speed and strength. If you walked by this character, you'd have no idea what they're capable of. But when the time is right, we'll be able to let the monster out and fully live that classic werewolf fantasy. So let's dive into the build. For our species, as I mentioned before, we're going to be going with Shifter. This gives us a few features, dark vision, an extra skill from a small list, but mainly what we're here for is the shifting feature. As a bonus action, you can assume a more bestial appearance. This transformation lasts for 1 minute until you die or until you revert to your normal appearance as a bonus action. When you shift, you gain temporary hit points equal to 2 times your proficiency bonus. You can shift a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. When we take this race, we choose what kind of shifter we are: Beast Hide, Longtooth, Swift Stride, or Wild Hunt. Each one fits a different niche, but for this build we're going with Longtooth. When you shift, and as a bonus action on your other turns while shifted, you can use your elongated fangs to make an unarmed strike. If you hit with your fangs, you can deal piercing damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength modifier, instead of the bludgeoning damage normal for an unarmed strike. So right out the gate, this is our werewolf transformation. And since the attack is a bonus action, from level 1 we'll be able to make 2 attacks per turn while transformed. Now notice that this is a bonus action, and since we're going barbarian, our rage is also a bonus action. So if you're using both of these features, which of course you're going to be, it's going to take 2 turns to have everything active. However, since Longtooth lets us make that bonus action attack as part of the bonus action which activates the feature, that second turn, we're still going to be making our full cascade of attacks. For our ability scores, like any proper barbarian, we want to maximize strength and constitution. And since we'll be using unarmored defense, we also want to have a decent dexterity. Now, this doesn't leave much room for our mental stats, but what did you expect? We are a barbarian after all. Our strength will be 15, dexterity 14, constitution 15, intelligence 8, wisdom 10, charisma 8. For our background, we'll take Outlander, increasing our strength by +2 and our constitution by +1. And we'll take the Alert origin feat. Alert gives us initiative proficiency. When you roll initiative, you can add your proficiency bonus to the roll, and initiative swap. Immediately after you roll initiative, you can swap your initiative with the initiative of one willing ally in the same combat. You can't make this swap if either you or the ally has the incapacitated property. This proficiency is a reflection of our heightened senses, more aware of and able to react to our surroundings than the common adventurer. And the initiative swap shows our ability to fight strategically alongside our pack. Barbarians have one of the best capstone features in the game, alongside monk and paladin. So whenever I'm making a class that starts out in those, I really don't want to multi-class if I can help it. So with this build, we're not multi-classing. Levels 1 through 20 are all barbarian. For that reason, the roadmap's going to be pretty simple, but let's just run through what features we're looking at real quick. Of course, level 1 through 20 is going to be barbarian levels 1 through 20. We'll get rage, unarmored defense, danger sense, reckless attack, form of the beast, all of our ability score improvements, extra attack, fast movement, bestial soul, feral instinct, instinctive pounce, brutal strike, infectious fury, relentless rage, improved brutal strikes, call of the hunt, persistent rage, improved brutal strike, indomitable might, epic boon, and finally primal champion. So at level 1 we get all the barbarian goodies, rage, unarmored defense, everybody knows about that. We also get 2 weapon masteries. However, starting at level 3 we'll be using our claws for most of the time, so we're not really built around a specific martial weapon. But until then we do have to use something. Also, even after level 3 we could run out of rages in an adventuring day, so it helps to have some steel at your side just in case. I'd probably go for short swords or daggers, using the Nick property to dual wield, kind of matching the feeling of swiping with our werewolf claws, but take whatever weapon you enjoy most. There's nothing wrong with going with a sword and board here, or even some big two-handed weapon. Level 2 gets us more abilities that lean into our heightened senses and our bestial wrath. Danger sense. You gain an uncanny sense of when things aren't as they should be, giving you an edge when you dodge perils. You have advantage on dexterity saving throws, unless you have the incapacitated condition. This is that hair sticking up on the back of your neck, eyes in the back of your head, alertness that canines have. And it continues the theme that the alert feat set us on. And we also get reckless attack at this level. When you make your first attack on your turn, you can decide to attack recklessly. Doing so gives you advantage on attack rolls using strength until the start of your next turn, but attack rolls against you have advantage during that time. Now, I've never much loved this feature. As you can probably tell by all the heavy armor and the use of the shield spell on my channel, I prefer not to get hit when I can help it. But this feature is a perfect fit for barbarians, and even more so for a rage-fueled werewolf. Still, I'd be careful with this, especially at low levels or against monsters that deal damage you aren't resistant to. It can be easy to get knocked out without knowing it's coming with this one, especially if you're throwing advantage to a whole swarm of enemies. I know. And maybe a couple of them get crits off on you. That never feels good. But anyway, level 3 gets us our subclass, Path of the Beast. And this is going to give us our first feature, Form of the Beast. This lets us manifest a natural weapon when we raid, and we choose the form from the following options each time. Bite. Your mouth transforms into a bestial muzzle or great mandibles, your choice. It deals 1d8 piercing damage on a hit. Once on each of your turns, when you damage a creature with this bite, you regain a number of hit points equal to your proficiency bonus, provided that you have less than half of your hit points when you hit. Claws. Each of your hands transforms into a claw, which you can use as a weapon if it's empty. It deals 1d6 slashing damage on a hit. Once on each of your turns, when you attack with a claw using the attack action, you can make one additional claw attack as part of the same action. Tail. You grow a lashing, spiny tail, which deals 1d8 piercing damage on a hit and has the reach property. If a creature you can see within 10 feet of you hits you with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to swipe your tail and roll a d8, applying a bonus to your armor class, potentially causing the attack to miss you. So for this build, we're mainly going to be using claws, since we already have a bite attack from our species feature, and spiky tail isn't really the aesthetic we're going for, but they're both still useful. If you're low on hit points, definitely use bite, and if you need some more extra defense against somebody with a really high attack modifier, feel free to go for tail. The additional attack from those claws is very similar to the Nick Mastery property, and since this subclass came out before the 2024 Player's Handbook, I think of this feature as the inspiration for Nick. And there we have it. That's our full werewolf transformation as early as level 3. Combine this with our species feature shifting, and we'll be able to attack twice with our action using the claws, and once with our bonus action using the bite. So we're clawing people, we're biting people, we're a full-on werewolf already. Each one of those attacks, the main action and the bonus actions, are also dealing 1d6 plus 5, thanks to our extra rage damage. So at level 3, that's 3d6 plus 15, potentially. Not bad for a level 3 character. At level 4, we're going to get our first ability score improvement, and I wanted to play into that whole fighting alongside your pack aesthetic and chasing enemies down. So we're picking up the Sentinel feat. This is going to increase our strength by +1 to 18, and we'll gain the following features. Guardian. Immediately after a creature within 5 feet of you takes the disengage action or hits a target other than you with an attack, you can make an opportunity attack against that creature. Halt. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, the creature's speed becomes 0 for the rest of the turn. So with this, we'll be able to help our allies and lock down our enemies. Character level 5 gets us an extra attack, so now we can swipe with our claws 3 times using our attack action, and use a bonus action to bite for a total of 4 attacks in one turn. Level 6 gets us another subclass feature, Bestial Soul. This makes our beast form weapons count as magical for getting through resistances and immunities. Keep in mind that this does not apply to our shifter bite attack, only to our Path of the Beast natural weapons. Also, you can alter your form to help you adapt to your surroundings. When you finish a short or long rest, choose one of the following benefits, which lasts until your next short or long rest. You gain a swimming speed equal to your walking speed, and you can breathe underwater. You gain a climbing speed equal to your walking speed, and you can climb difficult surfaces, including upside down on ceilings, without needing to make an ability check. When you jump, you can make a strength athletics check and extend your jump by a number of feet equal to the check's total. You can make this special check only once per turn. The extended jump is most on theme for our werewolf. The climbing speed also fits pretty well, but definitely don't hold back on using that swim one if you find yourself in an underwater dungeon. At level 7, we get Feral Instinct, which gives us advantage on our initiative. This, alongside the Alert feat, means we're now rolling a +5 with advantage on our initiative. We also get Instinctive Pounce, which lets us move up to half our speed as part of the bonus action that we use to enter our raid. I like this for us because our shifting feature also lets us bite as part of that bonus action. So now both of our setups, rage and shifting, will let us do something else as part of that bonus action. At level 8, we're getting our second ability score improvement, and I want to pick up the Grappler feat so we can more easily lock down our prey. This gives us a few features. Punch and grab. When you hit a creature with an unarmed strike as part of the attack action, you can both damage and grapple it. You can use this benefit only once per turn. Attack advantage. You have advantage on attack rolls against a creature grappled by you. and Fast Wrestler. Your speed isn't halved when you move a creature grappled by you if the creature is your size or smaller. Now, I was torn on picking this up because the punch and grab feature only applies during our attack action, so we can't grapple off of our bonus action bite attack, which is what I really wanted to do, meaning we'll have to swap one of our 1d6 claw attacks for an unarmed strike, which would only deal 1d6 plus our strength modifier. Additionally, we already have a way to get advantage on our attack rolls using reckless attack, so on the surface, it looks like this feat doesn't really do anything for us. Another downside is that in order to grapple, we need a dedicated hand to grappling, which would reduce the number of attacks we can make with our claws by 1, thanks to the fact that our claws let us make an extra attack when we swipe with the opposite claw. So grappling someone not only lowers our damage output on the round that we grapple, but also on all subsequent rounds. But thematically, it does fit the character concept really well, mauling and dragging enemies around. Also, forcing movement is really powerful in the current state of the game when combined with damaging effects, specifically spike growth. So we're going to add it to the build. But if you don't want to take it, know that I'm on your side a little bit here. Just instead bump your strength up to 20 with this ability score improvement. Now, because of the additional attack that we get with our claws when we attack with both, there's a specific way that you're going to want to make your grapples happen so you don't miss out on an extra attack on that first turn. Basically, you need both hands free at first to get the additional attack. So you'll make an attack with your action using one of your claws, then you'll make the additional attack from the other claw, and then you'll use your extra attack to make an unarmed strike to grapple. That way you're still making 3 attacks with that action. Once you've grappled with that unarmed strike, you can then bite the target using your bonus action, and that bite attack will have advantage. So that's how you're going to want to set that up. This is a pretty cool visual for a werewolf mauling somebody. Swipe with each claw, then you grab them, and then you sink your teeth in. That's exactly how you'd picture it. Now, at level 9, we get an awesome new Barbarian feature from the 2024 Player's Handbook, Brutal Strikes. Once per turn, when recklessly attacking, it lets you swap your advantage on an attack for an extra d10 of damage and an additional effect. Right now, there are 2 options for that additional effect. Forceful Blow. The target is pushed 15 feet straight away from you. You can then move up to half your speed straight towards the target without provoking opportunity attacks. And Hamstring Blow. The target's speed is reduced by 15 feet until the start of your next turn. A target can be affected by only 1 hamstring blow at a time. Some utility in Barbarians, a welcome change. Before this, Barbarians were kind of just hitting hard and taking a lot of damage. And the extra damage, I see it as basically the spiritual successor of the old -5 to hit for +10 damage from Great Weapon Master, since you're giving up advantage for an extra d10. Now, level 10 brings us another subclass feature, Infectious Fury. At 10th level, when you hit a creature with your natural weapons while you're raging, the beast within you can curse the target with Rabid Fury. The target must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw, DC equals 8 plus your con mod plus your proficiency bonus, or suffer one of the following effects, your choice. Target must use its reaction to make a melee attack against another creature of your choice that you can see, or the target takes 2d12 psychic damage. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. The forced attack would be really awesome if you use it against a creature that does huge damage on a single attack, like a giant or a dragon, but also that extra 2d12 is pretty juicy. Keep in mind that this is a separate feature from the attack, so if you crit, you can't add the 2d12 and make it 4d12. They take the damage from failing the save, not from the hit. Now, level 11 gets us Relentless Rage. It's one of those when you drop to 0 hit points, make a saving throw to stay alive features, except with this one, when you pass the saving throw, you also regain hit points equal to twice your Barbarian level, and each time that you do it, per rest, the DC goes up by 5, but we have proficiency in con saves and a pretty good con modifier, so we should be able to make that save pretty reliably. Now, this pairs pretty well with the bite attack from natural weapons, chomping on people and regaining hit points. At level 12, we get another ability score improvement, put a +1 into our strength and our constitution, bringing them to a 20 and a 17 respectively. Level 13 improves our brutal strikes, giving us 2 more options we can use. Staggering Blow. The target has disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes, and it can't make opportunity attacks until the start of your next turn. And Sundering Blow. Before the start of your next turn, the next attack roll made by another creature against the target gains a +5 bonus to the roll. An attack roll can gain only 1 Sundering Blow bonus. So this Staggering Blow option pairs especially well with Infectious Fury to make sure that they fail that saving throw, so we can get the extra damage in, or even make them attack somebody else. Then at level 14, we get our final subclass feature, Call the Hunt. At 14th level, when you enter your rage, you can choose a number of other willing creatures you can see within 30 feet of you, equal to your constitution modifier, minimum of 1 creature. You gain 5 temporary hit points for each creature that accepts this feature. Until the rage ends, the chosen target creatures can use the following benefit once on each of their turn. When the creature hits a target with an attack roll and deals damage to it, the creature can roll a d6 and gain a bonus to the damage equal to the number rolled. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses of it when you finish a long rest. Now this does have some negative synergy with our shifting feature, because when we activate that, we also gain some temporary hit points, and we can't stack temp HP. However, since this one also benefits our allies, it's good to use as well. Level 15 brings us the Persistent Rage feature. With this feature, we can once per long rest regain all of our expended rage uses when we roll initiative. But more importantly, our rage now lasts the entire 10 minutes without us needing to extend it, as long as we don't fall unconscious or don heavy armor. It even works through the incapacitated condition now. Level 16 brings us another ability score improvement, and let's bump our constitution up to 19. Level 17 improves our Brutal Strikes feature again, this time increasing the damage up to 2d10 and allowing us to add 2 effects to the hit instead of 1. Level 18 gives us Indomitable Might. If your total for a strength check or strength saving throw is less than your strength score, you can use that score in place of the total. Now this is a classic Barbarian feature. Basically it's the strongman's version of reliable talent is how I see it. At level 19 we get our epic boon. We're going to be taking the Boon of Fortitude. Ability score increase one ability score of your choice by 1 to a maximum of 30, and Fortified Health. Your hit point maximum increases by 40. In addition, whenever you regain hit points, you regain additional hit points equal to your Constitution modifier. Once you've regained these additional hit points, you can't do so again until the start of your next turn. So more hit points is always good. We did skip the tough feat with this character, so it's good to get that extra 40. And the additional healing that this provides actually pairs really well with the bite option from our Form of the Beast. Use the ability score increase here to bump your con up to 20. And lastly, level 20, we get what is my favorite capstone in the game, Primal Champion. You embody primal power. Your strength and constitution scores increase by 4 to a maximum of 25. Now this is why every barbarian should try to max out their strength and con, because now they're both 24 and therefore at a +7 modifier. And that's the build. So this is another flashy character build based on transforming to a more powerful version of ourselves, just like the Super Saiyan Paladin video I put out from December. As such, it's going to play very similarly. You'll need to activate your rage on turn 1, and then your shifting feature on turn 2. So over the course of 2 turns, you're transforming from a regular human into a hulking werewolf. Regardless of whether we're in our human or our werewolf form, we're going to have some enhanced senses and physicality, which manifests as improved initiative rolls, advantage on dex saves, increased movement speed, improved strength checks, all that good stuff. While we're transformed, we're going to be able to make extra attacks with our action and our bonus action, resulting in the most amount of attacks possible for a straight barbarian. This ties with a Nick mastery property / dual wielding feat barbarian if you're going for that too. But because this doesn't rely on a fighting style to add your modifier to those extra attacks, we're actually a little more efficient with our feat usage here. Now all werewolves should be good at hunting, and thanks to Sentinel and Grappler as well as Hamstring Blow, we're going to be pretty exceptional at catching enemies and then locking them down. I think this character is going to appeal to anybody who likes the barbarian class, but is looking for something with a twist outside of that classic great axe or great sword wielding, shirtless, muscle bound, stereotypical barbarian image. Also, if you're looking for an unconventional tank, this build works really well for that, thanks to its ability to lock enemies down. Visually, a massive werewolf swiping and biting is pretty attention grabbing, so thematically it makes a good tank as well. I like to think of this as like Warwick from League of Legends. I talk about League a lot in these videos, you guys can probably tell. I play a lot of League. My buddy mains Warwick, so I see him when I think about this build. You got really good movement speed, you can jump at people, grab them, grapple them, lock them down, maul them with a bunch of attacks. Pretty much a classic werewolf fantasy. Also, another benefit of this character is a lack of reliance on equipment. Our claws and our maw are our weapons. We don't need armor, so if you're in a group that doesn't hand out magic items very often, or if your DM likes throwing rust monsters at the group, you're going to be good regardless. The downside is, if you do end up with a shiny magical great axe, you won't want to use your natural weapons very much. In that case, you can just use the tail feature to give yourself a defensive benefit, so you're not missing out on that Form of the Beast. Now, this character is especially powerful at low levels. At level 1, we're going to be able to make 2 attacks. At 3rd level, we can make 3 attacks, and at 5th level, we'll make 4. That's the most number of attacks we're making. So from then on, the only real damage increase comes from either brutal strikes or from increasing our strength score. But we do get tankier as the levels go up. The big weakness here is the lack of a ranged damage option, but thanks to our enhanced movement speed and our powerful jumping abilities from Bestial Soul, we can close the gap pretty quickly, so that shouldn't be a problem unless you're completely locked away from enemies. All in all, this build does what every barbarian does well, soaking up damage, knocking enemies around, succeeding on every single strength check and strength saving throw, and most of all, dealing damage. What's nice here is that usually barbarian characters are criticized for not really having any roleplay going on. However, with this lycanthropy angle, we have a built-in character arc in how we approach our curse. You can either embrace the bestial rage, or you can learn to control it in a more serene and lucid way. And that's our werewolf character. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. I had a good time making this character. It's a pretty straightforward build, but there are times when I just want to make a character that doesn't multi-class. Just stick with one class and go all the way through so you can enjoy those higher level features. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this build. I do see that the damage is a little low this time. All the attacks are D6s, and we're not really adding additional dice to anything aside from brutal strikes once per turn. So let me know what you would do to increase the damage if you were playing this character. Subscribe for some more 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons content, and come back next week for another original character build. Next time, we're going to be creating a kind of strange multi-class. I'm combining Paladin and Ranger. I'm looking to gather as many pets as I can. So thanks again, everybody, and see you next Monday.